Look, it's a flood.
It's a flood.
It's flooding.
Get away.
Quick, we need to get to higher ground.
Open the floodgates.
So I was having a conversation last night. Because I was catching up on some.
You were being social out there in the wild.
Some like highlight moments in pop culture over the past couple of days. So I was watching Ash's World Championship match in Pokemon.
The series?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because he finally became the world champion.
Oh, you mean the one that just happened, right?
Yeah.
Where he was like, where Ash finally was declared
I watched
Hokage.
His world championship.
Yeah.
It was like 4 or 5 episodes, something like that. So I mean, I blew through it in like 2 hours. But I was like, all right.
Damn, the final championship match was a 4-episode series or 4-episode run.
Yeah, but it was really, like fast. It was well done pacing.
I mean, I'm not clowning it because this is coming from somebody who sat through 4 episodes of Goku screaming to wait for that final fucking transformation.
The most bizarre thing about Dragon Ball Z,
it wasn't really 4 episodes.
5 minutes for Namek before it explodes, and it literally takes like 5, 6, 7 episodes for that 5-minute
That's
sequence.
what I'm talking about, dude. Like, oh my god, Dragon Ball, the original Dragon Ball run on Toonami is a masterclass in filler, right? Like, they stretched a fucking Super Saiyan transformation out into like 3 episodes, and that Planet Namek explosion out into like 6. And yes, that's hyperbole, but still, anybody who's actually seen that shit will know what the fuck I'm talking about. You had to, and then the commercials, right? It's like,
yeah, I mean,
do you know how many?
Saga? Yeah,
yo, dog, like cutting to commercial and then coming back to Goku, like still powering up.
Minutes, but we need to have every single character's perspective, so it equals. It's like counting up minutes for NBA players, where it's like, all right, so for 5 people, you have 240 minutes in the game.
It's great. It was great, is what it was.
But what I was saying is, like, Ash, like, I watched his World Championship match, and, like, he had Pikachu's...
It was peak Pikachu?
It was Pikachu, like, Dynamax evolution, and he's literally just got really big.
So he's big...
Yeah.
Bigachu?
Yeah, and...
big at you.
I'm thinking,
so we on the block, hot stepping with Pikachu and Ash, and, we are gunning for that world title. So how are you feeling as you watch that episode?
My question is who is the strongest person that Pikachu can beat? Like, I have Pikachu beating Captain America.
I mean, okay, but what about Thor,
Pikachu,
though? Do you think Pikachu could beat Thor?
I don't think Pikachu can beat Thor.
Do you think Pikachu could beat Static Shock?
Could Static Shock hit Pikachu?
Do you think Pikachu could beat Storm?
Fuck no.
No.
Could Pikachu beat Spider-Man? Could Pikachu beat...
Could Pikachu beat Electro?
Which version?
The Jamie Foxx one.
Yes. Could Pikachu...
That's fucked up. Because Jamie just beat that fucking brain aneurysm, so I think he could totally beat Pikachu, but I guess that's just me. And maybe Jamie.
Could Pikachu beat Spider-Man?
My man had no idea what to do to come back from that Jamie Foxx brain aneurysm joke.
I got nothing. Something offensive.
Could Pikachu beat Spider-Man? I mean, no, because Spider-Man could beat Electro, and so, I don't know, So you're watching the final episode, and who was Pikachu's opponent?
Pikachu was going against this guy named Leon, who his own quote-unquote Pikachu, like the one that with the OG...
Oh, so it was Pikachu versus Pikachu. OG Charmander.
By the way, all of us who were like, where the fuck is Charizard? And all of them, they're back at Pallet Town with Professor Oak and Ash's mom, yeah, they're totally not a thing. Come on now.
Yeah,
And
no,
like
go
they're
out.
cheering them on.
Go
and, like,
out
you
in the
see
world.
Charizard and Bulbasaur.
Leave me
just
alone
go,
with your
"Oh,
mom."
Like, by the way, like he had Pikachu, Gengar, Surfetched, which is like a evolved form of Farfetch'd, and he gets like this lance and a shield. It's
Wow. Wow. Okay.
But, like,
very honorable type
like
shit.
made out of a plant. Like it's
Yes.
really
yeah,
cool.
I'm fucking with it, right? All right, so we're rolling
Dragonite.
along.
Lucario, and then two that I don't really know. One of
I
them
mean,
is
that's
like
what I'm saying. Like the Pokedex has got to be like an anthology. At
yeah,
this
but I
point.
saw like 4 of these Pokemon, and I'm like, yeah, I know.
I
these
recognize
Pokemon.
these
And I was
Pokemon.
like,
So that's what I'm trying to get at. Like, as somebody who grew up with the OG Pokemon run, right? Like, we're not that much like age difference between the two of us, right? Like, you were alive when Pokemon debuted.
could Pikachu beat Black Panther?
Absolutely the fuck not. Are you serious? T'Challa
Could
would dog
Pikachu beat
like,
Kid Gon?
possibly.
I think he probably
He
could
could.
beat Kid Gon.
Yeah. So who was Pikachu? That's right, Charmander, right? He was up against the
Yeah.
or Charizard, right? So how did you feel, right? Like, did this
It
final
was pretty
showdown feel epic?
It was pretty epic,
Okay.
but like,
Was it fulfilling? It was, as somebody who grew up with the OG Pokemon.
yeah, he hit him with some quick attacks, some thunderbolts, and some iron tails. Like he's been doing that for literally a decade. Cool with it. And you know, Pikachu, he took some hits, but like,
He took some hits. I love your description of the final battle,
like
right?
he got hit by a fire blast, you know, with the full symbol and everything.
Yeah. So he was really out here like taking blows back and
Pikachu's
forth.
quick attack got to a next level where like he did quick attack and Leon and Charizard were like, what happened? They literally didn't even see Pikachu.
Damn, so Pikachu was so like lightning. The level of quick attacks are rising up and crashing through like Pikachu into Charizard's chest. This is your boy Doc,
And this is Ziggy.
and we are the Flood. That's right, your favorite weekly pop culture digest. Back at it again, bringing you our
Pop perspective.
to put the culture in context.
And make the mainstream
Makes sense because
if
we
we do
don't
not make sense, we
don't
don't make
dollars.
dollars.
Holla. And by making sense, we mean taking the news happening around us and discussing how it is shaping the cultures that define us. And this week, some of the things we have got to run down, since it's been like, what?
2 weeks.
3 weeks by the time you guys have heard. This is a lot. By the time you guys hear this new episode, we back to talk. Of course, you know we got to talk about the Trump indictments, right? We got to talk about Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk cage fighting.
We have to talk about the NBA offseason.
We got to talk about that Russian coup attempt.
We got to talk about some new media releases.
And all kinds of other shit. But the first thing you know we like to do as music heads here on The Flood, we always like to take a look at what is dominating the streams at the moment, and that
And we
currently
also want to
is-
be found in the search bar. So this week's hit on the algorithm is Calling by Metro Boomin, Swae Lee, NAV, and a Boogie with the Hoodie.
A Boogie with the Hoodie?
Yeah.
You fucking old head. This nigga said a Boogie with the Hoodie.
A Boogie with the Hoodie!
A Boogie. A Boogie with the Hoodie. Is that off that Spider-Verse soundtrack?
Yeah.
That Spider-Verse soundtrack is kind of heavy. It's got that Lil Wayne feature on there, right? And I think there's another Travis Scott song on there as well. It's Metro is really out here, just like that Heroes and Villains cut that he just did. Man, listen, if you not hip, Zig, I implore you.
Oh no,
to
I
get
listen to this song. it felt like soul.
I mean, Metro Boomin is like really one of the top hip hop producers in the game right now. Like he's working with everybody from Young Thug on that Business is Business that just dropped.
We had Metro Boomin earlier on this week's hit on the algorithm.
Yeah, Young Thug also dropping an album in the middle of his trial, that Business is Business, and let me tell you, that shit in comparison to Gunna's new album, because Gunna, I don't know if you've been keeping up with some of this like Young Thug trial dilemma, right? But the one of the more recent big tidbits to come out of the trial was Gunna's plea deal, and everybody is like calling Gunna a snitch now, right? Because he took a plea bargain and potentially dropped some information that has got Young Thug facing heavy RICO charges. They trying to lock that man up for life, right? They trying to put Jeffrey away, like away. Meanwhile, Gunna is out here.
Also, I think it's hilarious when I have my moments where it's just like, wow, you old white motherfucker.
You're not even that old. That's why it's so sad to me, because you like hip-hop, but you one of them like people that's like, y'all stuck in that backpack rap days, and I'm just like...
it's mostly I've just been listening to like so many podcasts, and God, this submarine, I'm getting my jokes off, audience. You just
Oh,
wait.
yeah, you know we gonna talk about that oceanic mess.
I'm getting my fucking jokes off.
Yeah, that new Gunna Gift and a Curse, right? And when you listen to Gunna's Gift and a Curse, it's got some bangers on it, right? But it's one of those weird perspectives, like after we found out Tekashi was a snitch, right?
Yeah.
And then you gotta listen to him rap all this gangster
like
shit.
Like the Tory Lanez album, like Night at the Prom.
Yeah.
Like, that came out after all of the shit with Meg Thee Stallion.
That album was still fire.
Yeah,
and
that album
is
was really fucking
still
good.
fucking fire, right? And this Gunna album's still pretty fire.
Some of the stuff I get around to, I just get around to it a little late.
Hey, I mean, I hear you. I'm like that with video games.
High frequency.
I'm like that with video games, man. But
which we will get into later. But Cool Zach gave me a number between 10 and 50, and he gave me the number of the GOAT, 23. So we go 23 years back to the top 5 songs in 2000.
Ooh.
And at number 5,
a year! What a year!
Everything You Want by Vertical Horizon. Do you remember this song?
No. Everything.
She's everything you want. She's everything you need. She's everything inside of you that you wish you could be. He says all the right things.
Hell no, I definitely don't remember. That shit don't float. That shit does not float today.
I love that.
Oh, you love that song? If that song came on today while you were in...
I would absolutely be singing along.
Yeah, while you were out at brunch, if that shit popped on the radio.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's definitely a brunch song. Are you kidding me?
That's why I said brunch. It sounds like a brunch song,
that is
right?
a great brunch song.
While you waiting for your avocado toast to hit the table.
Number 4, I Want to Know by Joe.
Oh, yes. No, that one definitely still carries, right? Like, we was talking about weddings earlier, right? Like, that shit, come on, listen. And it's definitely gonna get some people emotional, and some people gonna be singing when the mimosas start hitting that brunch.
Number 3 is one of my favorite R&B songs of all time, and a certified classic, Say My Name by Destiny's Child.
No, you did not just say My Name is one of your favorite R&B songs.
I fucking love that song.
That bitch is... Let me find out Say My Name is in your rotation. I'm not saying that this song doesn't float, because obviously it still floats. Destiny's Child is, it's canonized at this point. Go ahead. Do it.
Every other word is a
do that shit. Do that shit.
You just be the truth. We're at the crib with another lady.
Oh, okay. All right. I see you, Zach. Nah, but for real, 2000. Listen.
Number 2, we got Smooth by Santana and Rob Thomas.
Ooh. Damn, this is like
got a hot one.
This is like all brunch classics right here. This is the brunch playlist.
And at number 1, we have Breath by Faith Hill.
Oh, listen, something for the white chicks.
A week of brunch.
If we have
Because,
white
Say My
female
Name would
listeners,
definitely be in the brunch rotation.
This is
for diversity.
This is the brunch playlist. That's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, our white female listeners, the ones that we do have, are like, hold on, I definitely love Destiny's Child. Okay.
No one has ever left you.
All right.
I love that song, man.
I love that song. No, you don't. Shut up. Stop lying.
No, I fucking love that song, man. One of my favorite things is Kelly's trying to text her man, and she's like texting on an Excel spreadsheet in the music video. Like, it's fucking hilarious.
That's not the Say My Name video. That's the That's the Dilemma video, dog. Yeah, no, that shit is great. She's texting with a spreadsheet on a sidekick. That shit is. I'm almost certain it's a sidekick. Y'all can correct me in the comments if it's not a sidekick.
Yeah,
but
like anytime somebody, if I mention. It's happened on at least 2 occasions. I mentioned Gym Class Heroes in conversation, and somebody's like, I don't know who they are. And then I think to myself, I'm like, yeah, they literally have the word sidekick as a lyric, so I don't blame them for not
take a look
knowing.
at my girlfriend. She's the only one I got. Da 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 da. Anyway, oh god.
How she breathes booze in the morning, yeah. It's so sexy how she can't remember last night. I made the fatal mistake of letting her drink again. But who the hell am I to tell her how to live her life?
Do you think Gen Z is thinking about Gym Class Heroes? Like, I feel like...
I'm pretty sure... I think they have the option to opt out of gym, so...
I feel like we are the only people that have thought about Gym Class Heroes in maybe the last, 82 days. Right? Like, it's not happening.
Longer than my Duolingo streak. Which is at 36 days, by the way.
I guarantee you people have longer Duolingo streaks than the last time people have thought about Gym Class Heroes.
Well, you know something that has been on everybody's mind? Let's talk about something that we just... Why the fuck are you doing this?
Tube up your butt, you funnel the beer in.
I can't believe you've done this.
No, I don't know what I expected.
What has got you so stressed out? What is it that you need to know?
You get in a DIY TikTok carbon fiber submarine
The thing
run
that
by a guy
everybody-
named Stockton Rush, who sounds like a comic book weapons dealer name.
Stockton Rush is a great
Named
name.
Titan. And a sub named Titan to go to the Titanic, which is an underwater graveyard.
It's also not even really there anymore. It's so deteriorated and dilapidated that it really just looks like a trash heap.
A lot of these jokes you will have heard before, but just let me cook. I'm sure I will hit some new ones.
I mean, yes,
Because,
they're 3 weeks.
The
This is a
Titanic's
3
kill
week old.
count went up again.
Hey, not only is this a
I
why the
actually-
fuck are you doing this, but this is also a turtle take. Bringing that back, because if you don't know, now you know.
No, if we don't know, now you know.
The Oceanic Titan imploded after going missing for what? It was 3 days?
Well, it was
News for 3 days.
no,
was
it went quote unquote missing, even though it no longer existed.
Well, it was missing, and then it was determined after a 3-day search that the submersible had
I heard
imploded.
the scientific explanation of what happens in that third of a second, and what I it
Oh, yeah,
compresses and then superheats. And
Yeah,
then,
the air
and I'm
boils,
like,
and
oh
guess
shit,
what?
that's Phaeton's Nen ability.
Yeah, it's not one of those happy accidents that's gonna give you superpowers. I can tell you it's not gonna turn you into one of the members of the Fantastic Four. What it did do, though, however, was absolutely shred the sub, which they were recovering pieces of and I guess turned everybody else into fish food, which is a terribly offensive joke to make, because...
Oh no, we're not done. So I think, I was wondering if the family are happy that they found the debris, so that way the coffin isn't totally empty.
What are they gonna put in there? Goo?
No, the debris itself.
From the sub.
There's gotta be something left on there.
Because once again, as we mentioned earlier, when the sub
Rush sounds like a comic book weapons dealer.
When the sub imploded, it heated the air to ungodly proportions of hot. Which I have, I don't have to explain to you what that does to the human body. Also, immediate decompression is not great. You can ask anybody who takes, like, scuba diving lessons.
Yep.
You're not supposed to, like, decompress really quickly.
I think you're supposed to, like, breathe out as you're rising up to the surface.
Look at what it does to blobfish. Like that notorious picture that everybody's seen of the super ugly fish. Like, that fish is not supposed to look like that. It looks like that because it was brought to surface from a really, really deep level of pressure way too fucking quickly. And guess what? That happened to all of those people in there. But here's the part where we talk about what the sub looked like, because why would you pay? Those tickets weren't cheap, dog.
$250,000
to get in a DIY sub. You want to know what's really funny about this? Instagram thought it would be a funny idea to advertise a underwater sub exhibition from like a sandals resort to me, because I'm also one of those people that is like addicted to, travel Instagram, right? And so like it sends me excursions and stuff all the time. And because this sub thing is trending, it was like, here's an underwater excursion that isn't as janky as the Oceanic, right?
By the way, they have a job posting.
This submersible that they showed me on Instagram had windows that you can look out of, and it had
That's a problem to begin with.
Touchscreen? No, it's not.
The windows?
Yeah, because they're not going as deep as the fucking Titanic. Bro.
Okay, that's fair.
Come on, son. The fucking Titan. The Titan really looked like
the Titan. The name of it was the Titan. Going to the Titanic.
No, fuck that. Bro, did you see what the sub looked like? At this point, I'm sure all of our listeners have seen what the sub looked like. And if I could show you...
It looks like something I could
the
build
one
in Tears
on
of the Kingdom.
Instagram. Thank you. Alright, because if I could show you the one that I saw on Instagram, you would be like, oh no, this looks like a fun little excursion, right? That sub looked like something that you get into if you're in like a fucking like marine biology program.
Yeah,
right? Or like an MIT,
to look
like
at the coral reef.
It looked like something an MIT student was building.
Yeah,
right? And so much so to the fact that it was run with the Mad Catz controller.
No, a Logitech controller. Which, by the way, the creator of the Logitech controller had to come out and make a public statement on TikTok.
Which isn't fair to them, right? And it's not fair because...
Oh no, it was fantastic content. He was like, yeah, we're like the mid-range game controller when you can't afford a real PlayStation controller. We're not made to pilot submarines, so please don't do that.
You know what's really bad? Even fucking Rick Ross came out and was like, why was the sub not tethered? Right? Like, if Rick Ross has more foresight, no disrespect to Rick Ross, dog, but like, if Rick Ross has more foresight than the people
Rick Ross
who are
has gone deep submerging before.
Who are... I could totally... I feel like up until this point, Rick Ross is totally the kind of person who would have gone into the sub.
I feel like he already has. Not Titanic deep, but like marine biology deep.
No, nobody's doing sub rides anymore, dog. I will get in a fucking Hindenburg blimp before I go in a fucking sub at this point, my guy. Like, I think, this was such a catastrophe. It's going to reinvigorate the blimp scene, and we will all be traveling by Airbus soon.
I also haven't seen James Cameron's face more now than I have since his Titanic press doc.
I think it's funny that there are like actual marine biologists and engineers to consult when this all like is going on, and everybody's like, "What does James Cameron think?"
And South Park predicted it.
He's James Cameron. Son, it's so fucking
No, trench
dumb.
too deep. No, bunch of too steep.
It's so fucking dumb. It's so fucking dumb.
Well, no, like,
We
the thing is, it's
have-
like poetic because like he's also the director. Like he knows his shit.
No, it's poetic because we
he
have
directed
actual
Titanic,
scientists.
and then had Titan, and then they go to the Titanic and fucking die.
It's poetic because
only one where
the
we
only
feel bad
reason
for, by the
James
way,
Cameron
is,
made Titanic.
like the 19-year-old. That's an actual real tragedy.
It's poetic because the only reason James Cameron made Titanic was so he could actually go look at the Titanic. That's why it's poetic.
Which,
With real scientists and engineers, by the way.
to me, I thought somebody mentioned this, is a boss move.
Yes,
Boss
no,
move.
That is 100% a
absolutely
boss move.
He made Titanic to fund the documentary for him going into the Mariana Trench. You know that, right? Like the whole
That's
reason.
a boss move.
Yeah. It was also like while he was there, he was like, you know what? After this, I think I'm gonna go do that Mariana Trench.
Like,
thing."
and the thing is, I'm
He's
not
like
even
one of 5 people who's been to the
Yeah,
bottom.
like
of the
I'm not
Mariana
even
Trench.
shitting on James Cameron.
No.
The South Park bit is hilarious.
No, consulting. I will give you that consulting James Cameron in this instance is more beneficial to the discussion than consulting Ja Rule.
No, like James Cameron really is like a leading submersible, like.
I
like,
wouldn't
authority.
go. I wouldn't go that far. I mean, yes, the nigga made it to the bottom of the Mariana Trench, but that's like the reverse white guy version of go climbing Mount Everest, right? Like James Cameron was like, no, everybody does that. All you got to do is get a Sherpa for that. That's not even that hard. I want to go to the bottom of the ocean. What's the deepest point? Nobody's doing that, right? Like that's what I give him points for. Right? Because instead of scaling mountains like every other boring white guy on the planet, he was like,
Well,
I want to go to
he
the
made,
deepest
like 30
part.
trips to the Titanic, so I mean, he's-
Before the Titanic was like all algae and wood rot. Right? Like,
hey, but
because
it was
that's-
unsinkable.
that's what it is now. It's trash. It is literally ruins. There's probably more to the Roman Colosseums than there is to the Titanic at this
So,
point.
OceanGate was also emailed by basically every single organization in the submersible community, and they were all like, this is a really bad idea, and the U.S. Navy, on that Sunday, heard what sounded like a sub implosion and was like, carry on.
Yeah, it was probably. I like imagining that they were in the office and everybody was
Because
like,
they were
"Yo,
in, the sub
did
was
you hear
in
that?
international waters.
yo!" They were like, "Yo, did you hear that? Yeah, I heard that. That was weird. Do you think that was like?" I don't. And one random guy was like, "That sounded like a sub imploding, didn't it?" And everybody, nah, that was probably one of the like wow signal things. It was a whale. It was probably just a whale.
Here's what I'm thinking, and they're just like, did you just hear that? Yeah, it sounded like a sub imploding. Yup. Where was it? Outside of our borders? Do you want to go investigate? Nope.
Nah.
Neither do I.
We're good. We're good. I like how the U.S. Navy was like, oh yeah, we knew about that. After 3 days of people being like, where the fuck is this sub? The U.S. Navy was like, oh, that?
The whole time, every
That's a-
single like deep sea exploration expert was, you know, they said like on Sunday, like the moment they heard about it, they were like, oh, they're fucking dead. Like
Yeah.
they're just dead.
Yeah.
And the media just kept dragging it out for like 4 days, and there was like almost like an unspoken agreement or like a backdoor agreement between all of them. They're just like, we all agree that they're just fucking fish food, right? And they're all like, yup, yup. That's something they've actually been talking about in interviews, because this is still a continuing story, because I already have a Netflix documentary idea of like why this happened, and literally all of it is just like tempting fate.
I mean, do you think it's really tempting fate to, like, at this point when submarine technology has been a consistent thing for a really long time?
If
and
you do it in an inconsistent way, probably.
I mean, so you're saying it was an inevitable thing with this company.
I'm thinking if everybody's zigging, there's only so much zagging you can do.
That was clever. I honestly feel like rich people going rich people, and this is just
like I
a
said,
result.
the only person I feel bad for is the 19-year-old kid.
Who was dragged along, right?
Yeah.
No,
I don't feel bad for the stepson at the Blink-182 concert.
that is now beefing with fucking Cardi B over the
He
internet.
deleted his Twitter.
Did he delete?
Yeah, he
it?
just outright deleted that thing.
Yeah, well, I bet at this point, right? Because he probably does feel like an asshole after finding out that his father was, like, reverse ballooned. It's terrible. Especially when you consider the fact that these rich people paid, $250,000
$250,000
a ticket. Meanwhile, there are like boats of migrants that are like, sailing across the Mediterranean and whatnot that are tragically being sunken and getting lost. And those people did not ask, but are forced to leave their homes and comfort.
I sent you a picture of a bunch of Yu-Gi-Oh cards. And everybody was... you laughed your ass off. I posted it in UAL. Everybody was laughing their asses off. And somebody was like, I see a connection here. And I'm like, nope, none. I hit random card on their database 5 times. What are the chances that it would perfectly line up with something going on in the world? I'll bet you $250,000 and my life that this series of Yu-Gi-Oh cards is not sending some kind of pervasive satirical commentary. Sometimes I'm too smart for my own good.
Shut the You know who else thinks they're too smart for their own good? Motherfucking Donald Trump. Because guess what else happened while we were away on our 2-week break? That's right, everybody's favorite celebrity president became another...
Ulysses S. Grant? George...
Everybody's
Washington?
favorite president committed another one of his first. That's right, Donald Trump, the guy, the greatest president at, breaking grounds, has also broke another ground. That's right, he's been indicted.
The first president to be indicted on federal charges.
Fed charges, Fed time. Your boy Donnie T
So
out
I
here
feel
facing
like everybody
Fed
has
numbers.
gotten, at this point, they understand what generally is going. I can't believe he was just keeping them to
You
just clout
say
chase.
that.
To just clout chase.
You say that, right? But Don is facing multiple charges across all kinds of different boards because he's still got that Georgia election tampering shit that he's facing, right? Like, this is just the document thing, which is now, like, divulged into... Or not divulged, but like escalated into
So,
like an espionage
Was
charge.
the civil suit he had to pay money? Was that the one he was already arraigned for?
The civil suit for the Stormy Daniels thing?
No, for the other woman.
See, that's what I'm talking about. Oh, you're talking about the rape case.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, listen.
This should tell you enough.
And this dude wants to run for president again. And there are people out here who are like, he should totally run for president again.
We can't even keep track of all of the major open cases against him.
He has, but y'all want that. What does that say about America? And that's the
Meanwhile,
guy.
we should impeach Joe Biden because his son is a crackhead.
Hey, Hunter be out here wilding, right? Like, I feel like Hunter and Don could probably party really good together.
80s Don.
Yeah.
80s Don.
Hey, Hunter, you're crazy. That guy's crazy.
If 80s Don met Hunter Biden, he would never have this witch hunt against Hunter Biden.
Oh no, they would go to China together and they would build
China.
all kinds of hotels and screw all kinds of hookers while Don watches them pee on the bed. Because I believe...
Hey, do you want to play Mario Kart?
Do you believe or not, at this point, that the pee tape exists? Like, people don't talk about it anymore, but every now and again, I still wonder if there's a tape of Donald watching hookers pee on a bed.
He used to think that it was kind of wrong.
Really? Really? We're gonna R. Kelly this? That's awful. That's just
Maybe
awful.
admitting it in a song. It really makes me conflicted when I watch Space Jam, because I regularly watch Space Jam.
You know what else is, or you know who else is conflicted? The NCAA. Because they are showing signs of supporting potentially removing cannabis from the list of banned substances that their players are allowed to use for medical aspects.
You mean like majority of the country?
Yes, exactly. Like, people are finally, I mean,
The
even
NCAA
though...
has been consistently behind the ball for decades.
I was gonna say, even though it looks like there is a huge forefront brewing of normalization, like cannabis normalization, right? We have to
Also,
remember...
collegiate athletes can now get sponsorships for their likeness.
We have to remember that, you know, and not everybody is happy or satisfied with cannabis being legalized, right? Like, there are still lots of people who are, you know, of the old mindset and are pushing back against cannabis being so quickly and easily accepted. But on June 16th, Committee on Competitive Safeguards and Medical Aspects of Sports released a statement regarding its support of removing cannabis from the list of banned substances. The NCAA, which is governed by the 3 divisions, said in a press release after they met in Indianapolis last week of the referral to further consider cannabis and the cannabis policy and whether drug testing should be limited to performance enhancement drugs only, right? And not include substances that are now becoming normalized like marijuana. And cannabis.
JJ Redick's podcast, The Old Man and the Three, is sponsored by a CBD company, and he's probably right now the second leading voice on the NBA when it comes to ESPN. Because Stephen A, you know, he's at the top for everything because he's become the face. And JJ Redick is often his opponent on First Take. And Twitter is often just like, you know what? JJ, he's kind of right. Definitely circle jerks the Phillies, or the 76ers, though.
So, in order for cannabis to be removed from the NCAA's standards, all 3 divisions would have to introduce and adopt legislation that would, you know, promote such an idea. The committee is also trying to adopt a trace level threshold for the metabolic modular GW1516, also known as the cardenine and endoribol, to be less than 0.1 nanograms per millimeter, I guess. So, meaning that the testing threshold should be, like, lowered for that.
Yeah.
So, overall, though, the health advisory group that met for the first time in December is working on updating new mental health practices, and they think that supporting lessening the standards on, like, marijuana might help with that.
Well, if we're talking about marijuana in sports, let's give the congratulations to the Denver Nuggets, your NBA champions. Which, also, I will take my L for saying that I did not believe in Denver because Why
Damn.
would Denver win a fucking NBA championship?
Damn. Look at you. Look at you.
I will hold my L. However, I will say, 2 days after they won the championship, and I went out to the court, the tall, lanky white dude, people looked at him different.
Is it Bird era season 2?
Well, no, like, Jokic?
Yeah.
Jokic is a monster.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was out at the court and I was shooting, and they were looking at the tall white guy a little bit different after they won the championship.
Y'all always looking for a hope. I mean, Jokic ain't no fucking joke, right?
Look,
but
the
like,
greatest the best
white guys are like, I love
American basketball player in the NBA right now might be Austin Reeves. So,
listen.
like, you know, in the NBA, representation matters. Why do you think we love Larry Bird so much?
I mean, listen, Jokic wasn't, definitely wasn't no joke out there on the court, but I mean, you got to give it to Jamal Murray, right? And,
yeah.
And
like, to say Batman and Robin
Right.
would be injustice. It'd be more like Batman and Nightwing.
I see what you did there. I see what you did there, but I mean, I feel like
AKA Robin with angst.
I feel like anybody who was really watching the series could see this Nuggets win coming.
Yeah,
from-
no, this Nuggets team was really good, and the more I watched them, the more I was like, all right, Jokic is really good, and the fact that he did win the championship actually like proves the 2 MVPs he won back to back the 2 years prior.
And we're talking about the Colorado team, right? And listen,
Yeah.
Colorado
That
would.
high team taking it to the top. Also, home court advantage in Colorado is no joke with the altitude. Like,
Yeah, no,
yeah, that's a real thing.
I totally feel that, but
Like,
also,
if you're going to talk about home court, home field advantage in any spot in the country, like, no. Denver, like, is legit a home field advantage because there's no city that really goes to the altitude of Denver. But yeah, the Nuggets, with their home field advantage in Denver, actually did manage to take the championship down. But if we're going to talk about pivots and something that was kind of unexpected...
pivoting from our champions this year, we are pivoting into...
Michael Jordan is selling the Hornets, and that's the best news Hornets fans have heard since they were getting a team again.
Damn. We're that happy that Michael Jordan is selling the Hornets?
Yeah, Michael Jordan's a terrible owner and GM.
Oh, wow.
Like, he's atrocious.
Wow.
He's really bad.
Wow, I didn't know that. It's
Nah,
that bad?
Yeah, he's like, we'll look at a draft pick and be like, what are you talking about? I'm not going to listen to you. I'm Michael fucking Jordan.
So, and he does not have the team building skills that, I mean, I guess we kind of saw that when he was the coach of the Wizards, right? And
The player coach, I think he was.
yeah, his coaching style was, fuck
Fuck
that.
you, I'm Michael Jordan.
I'm gonna play instead is what I'm gonna do.
So, yeah, the Hornets fans are psyched about that.
I'm so surprised he didn't come out as like an owner coach or an owner player. It was like, bro, you know what? I'm sick of all this LeBron talk. Actually, what I'm gonna do, is bring the fucking Hornets a championship, and I'm gonna be so good. I'm gonna make it so that LeBron gets into the championships because of how good I am, so that we can play against each other for one last time and shut Stephen A. Smith the fuck up.
Well, if Michael was going to try to play, let's talk about someone who can't play with Ja Morant, who's now suspended for 25 games, which is more than a quarter of the season.
Do we feel like the suspension is really justified, though? What has this
It was
nigga...
the number that I expected.
What has he done? other than wave the gun. The nigga hasn't shot at anybody.
Alright, so
like,
here's my personal stance on it. The NBA's image, if this happened in 2003, it would be a much smaller suspension. Because the image of the NBA was more associated with, like, that culture at the time. You know, bling era hip hop, right?
So you're saying that
Because-
at the course that the NBA has grown over the
Yes.
last couple of decades, they're trying to make their image more family friendly.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like, Ja Morant's got a signature shoe that was, like, selling out and shit. So, yeah. The kids look at Ja and they're like, Ja's a superhero.
There are two specific instances where I feel like, you know, Ja Morant was actually in the wrong, right? And they are, you know, the two times that he brandished the firearm in the middle of his arguments with, you know, the underage youth.
Yeah.
And then there was that other one that just
In the
recently,
club?
yeah.
Which, by the way, was in Colorado, I believe.
Right.
Road game against the Nuggets.
So, other than that, though, I don't really feel like all of this is necessary. I feel like it's really overhyped.
Me too. I will say that the suspension, the reason it's as long as it is, 25 games was the number I expected it to be. It was. It's just like a nice, you know, this is definitely a damage to your paycheck, damage to your team amount without, like, completely fucking destroying you and basically blacklisting you from the association.
It's a pretty significant slap on the wrist.
No, it's more than a slap on the wrist. What he got the first time was a slap on the wrist. Because remember, he went to Adam Silver, had a meeting with him, and was like, I'm sorry, I'm very contrite, I went to go
Do you count that as a slap on the wrist? Because I really feel like
No, that was a slap on the wrist.
Yeah, okay. Having to apologize to Adam Silver is a slap on the wrist.
No, the 8-game suspension he got.
He got 8. Yeah, okay.
Before he got 8
right.
games. This is a second quote-unquote offense under the same umbrella type of behavior.
So a quarter season you feel like is much more significant.
Oh, yeah, that might just fuck the Grizzlies, which makes me feel bad because Marcus Smart is now a Grizzly. Right. And I'm always going to root for you, Marcus. I love you, Marcus, but I'm actually in the outlier Celtics fans, and I think that you scared me more than you made me cheer. The NBA is honestly always wild because the Celtics now have Kristaps Porzingis. They traded away Marcus Smart and still got Kristaps Porzingis and somehow 2 first-round picks out of it, which, if you think about it from a GM's perspective, was like, holy shit, like, insane value.
Right.
Like, snap call.
A deal Jordan would have never made.
The Phoenix Suns are basically saying, fuck the new collective bargaining agreement punishing for going over the luxury tax. We're just going to blow it out of the water. And they got Bradley Beal from the Wizards. For Chris Paul, he was then traded to the Warriors. So now Chris Paul will be running with Steph Curry.
On the Warriors. Okay, that'll be it. So there's a pretty decent shakeup happening right now that's going to make for a very interesting next season once the beginning of the season
And then
starts.
there is a proverbial meteor coming to the dinosaurs with Victor Wembanyama entering the league as a San Antonio Spur. Now,
Ooh, okay.
yeah, this guy, people are saying that he's the best NBA prospect since LeBron James.
Right, okay,
Now,
and that'll
people have
put
been
him
saying
alongside who?
People are saying if LeBron and Victor were in the same draft, Victor would go number 1.
Really? So that's what I'm... So the move to... you said, where is he going again?
He's going to San Antonio.
Okay, the Spurs, right.
Like,
so
one of the
move,
best organizations
right.
you can go to in the NBA.
The move to the Spurs puts him alongside who?
Right now, they have like $30 million in cap space. So, pretty much whoever they really can coax
Choose
into,
at the moment.
hey, do you want to play with Victor Wembanyama.
Yama, right.
The last 2 times the Spurs had number 1 picks, they picked Tim Duncan, worked out pretty well, and David Robinson. Worked out pretty well.
So,
I've been saying the whole time I wanted Victor to go to San Antonio. And I'm super excited to see what happens with Greg Popovich's basically last hurrah. He'll be here for a few more years. Like, not gonna lie, I think the only way Popovich retires is if he dies or he goes actually senile.
you think that's the only way Popovich is gonna, like, step down?
Realistically, yes, because I mean, like, he lost his wife a few years ago, and
So you think all he's got left is the game?
Like the thing is
All I've got left is the court.
that season he had Tim Duncan come on as a quote unquote assistant coach, but they've had such a close relationship. Like when he introduced Tim for the Hall of Fame ceremony, he was like, "I would like to thank Tim Duncan for carrying me to 5 NBA championships."
Cute.
Like,
Cute. I see the admiration that you were...
like, and Popovich is such a smart and thoughtful person who's very strong and opinionated, and he's someone everybody in the NBA respects or even admires. And I think somebody who has this hype and he seems this ready to go, going to Popovich is perfect.
You know who else is somebody who a lot of people admire, but I will say maybe misguidedly, is Elon Musk. And you know who else is somebody who is also ready to go, even though he's not as nearly as admired as the previous person? Mark Zuckerberg. And when I say ready to go, it seems that Mark Zuckerberg is ready to go following his jiu-jitsu win when it comes to a cage fight. Previously mentioned Elon Musk. That's right. You heard it right. At this point, I'm sure if you listen to this podcast, you have heard the murmurs that Elon Musk has accepted an invitation to a cage fight with Facebook's Mark Zuckerberg. Please let this bring back Celebrity Deathmatch.
Oh my god. I feel like...
How could this be a Celebrity Deathmatch?
Like, MTV has to be able to carve out, like, 2 hours of their 23 hours of ridiculousness for Celebrity Deathmatch, right?
The exchange between the famous techies, according to a USA Today article, came on the heels of Musk tweeting, "I'm sure the Earth can wait," to be exclusively under Zuckerberg's thumb with no other option, right? After the announcement of Facebook Threads, right, which is intended to be Mark Zuckerberg's competition to Twitter, what is the continually dying structure that Elon Musk is now in charge of.
Now, I just want to say, on my 2023 bingo card, I did not have a cage match between Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg, but I will say, I never knew I needed this.
Yo, it immediately made me think of the Tesla torso meme that came out just recently. The one where it's like...
This is the only situation I feel myself rooting for Mark Zuckerberg.
Dude, yeah,
just because Elon is so annoying.
The Twitter poll ranked the overall decision Mark Zuckerberg 53.9 to 46.1%. Because in what world? Mark Zuckerberg literally just won a jiu-jitsu championship. Elon Musk looks like he's a tiny billionaire.
No, he tweeted. He's like, "I have a special move. It's called the Walrus, where I lay on top of my opponent and do nothing."
You know who else knows about that special move? Grimes.
I was gonna say Amber Heard, but
no, it's his baby mama.
Amber Heard is Elon's one who got away.
Yo, Mark Zuckerberg is absolutely going to wash Elon Musk in this shit.
Dana White is literally foaming at the mouth. He's like, it would be the biggest fight in fight history.
Yo,
as far as like people viewing.
I need it to happen because I never got Chris Brown versus Soldier Boy, and I'm still mad about it.
All right, hold on. Who would you want to see Chris Brown go against? Chris Brown versus
Soldier Boy.
All right, that's
I need
one. Who
that
else
fight
would you
to
want to
happen.
see Chris Brown fight?
I would pay money to watch Chris Brown.
Tory Lanez. I would
And-
watch Chris Brown fight Tory Lanez.
Ooh, I don't know. I feel like that's a wash. I feel like Chris Brown is washing Tory Lanez, dog. I will be on record as much as I support Tory Lanez.
Chris Brown versus Freddie Gibbs.
No, it would have to be Chris Brown versus Drake. For the culture. It would have to be Chris Brown versus Drake for the culture. And actually, I have Chris Brown standing.
Bring back Celebrity Deathmatch.
His own. But I mean, I feel like Drake, even though he gets plastic surgery. No, but for real though, if Elon Musk wins this cage fight, if this cage fight actually happens, and I really need it to happen because once again, I'm still mad that we didn't get Chris Brown versus Soulja Boy. And I feel like this is quite the consolation prize.
What about Chris Brown versus Jake Paul?
Ooh, actually, okay. You've piqued my interest. Only because I feel like there is a universe where Jake Paul wins that fight.
I think so too.
And it's
I feel like that would be
the biggest upset of the year.
what do you think the odds on Chris Brown and or Jake Paul would be? Like
60-40, honestly. Like that's 6 to 10. Like, yeah, I feel like Jake Paul wins that
so
fight
like
6
gambling
times.
odds would be like plus 200 on Jake Paul,
Yeah, I just
making Jake Paul the underdog.
just by size. No.
You say Chris Brown's the underdog?
Yeah, dude, by size comparison, absolutely. Like, what? I feel like
Chris Brown has crackhead strength.
I feel like Chris Brown is probably more. Actually, I can't even call him athletic at this point compared to Jake Paul because Jake Paul has like actively been trained, like fight training, right? But
It
Chris
would be
Brown
like Ryu
is-
versus Dal Sim.
Chris Brown is not athletic, like because he does like do like dance training.
Like I
and
said,
stuff
it would be
that.
like Ryu versus Dal Sim. Yoga file.
It would be an interesting fight to say the least. I would be surprised if Chris Brown wins that fight though. Like by regulation, I would be surprised if Chris Brown wins that fight.
But you would watch that fight.
Yeah, just like I would watch Elon Musk fight Mark Zuckerberg.
Oh no, I'm 100% in on that. It could be a
And
fucking blowout.
I would totally be surprised if Elon Musk wins this fight. I would absolutely, because as much as we like to make fun of Mark Zuckerberg is consciously taking in all of that and is like, I'm gonna prove them wrong. God damn it.
Mark Zuckerberg may actually be the Terminator. Like,
He's like gearing up to punch Donald Trump in the face and he's like, do you like me now?
make fun of my metaverse one more time.
Make me president. He really is like gearing up to run for president. He's like, I beat up
Mark
Elon
Zuckerberg
Musk.
would have a very successful campaign because it'd be very easy for him to run Facebook ads on Facebook.
I
Being
beat
the
up-
owner of Facebook.
I beat up Elon Musk. What more do you want from me? If I could
Not be the Terminator.
If I could beat up Elon Musk, I could beat up Putin. You know who else thinks they could beat up Putin?
You know you're fucked up when Trent Reznor made your movie's soundtrack.
Did he make the soundtrack
Yes, he
for...
did. He made the soundtrack for Social Network. He won an Oscar for it.
That's interesting. You know who's not winning an Oscar anytime soon? The head of the Wagner Group. As a matter of fact, that guy is on his way to Belarus as we speak, more than likely.
Last I heard, they were en route to Moscow, but then were ordered to turn around. But this is rapidly developing.
From what I understand, they have now reached not a peace agreement, but they've reached some kind of agreement
Ceasefire?
That's going to have him, that's going to have the leader sent to Belarus, and the soldiers who participated in the March for Justice, not a coup attempt, are all going to be pardoned, according to Putin, because the leader of Belarus intervened as a mediator and was able to get them to stop their march. But that's according to this USA Today article that I read. So it seems at this moment that the March for Justice that looks a whole lot like a coup attempt is no longer happening. But it does have everybody questioning Putin's stability on his hold of the Russian government, right? Because these do look like cracks in the armor of what was a very
formerly known as the Iron Curtain.
I mean, well, it hasn't been the Iron Curtain for a while, right?
30 years, but
Putin
still.
had a pretty decent stranglehold
Copper curtain.
on what is today's modern Russian politics, rivaling only at the moment Xi Jinping over in China.
I will say, actually, I have been watching the show Servant of the People, which is the show Volodymyr Zelensky was the star of, where he was elected president of Ukraine. Yeah, I know, it's weird. But, like, they crack jokes and they're like, would you rather be in Russia? And, like, everybody's like, oh, fuck ass, no. And, like, that was from, like, 5+ years ago.
Yeah. So, it seems like, at the moment, Putin is still holding steadfast to, progressing further with this Ukrainian liberation movement. That he started, it's a
military operation.
Yeah, and it's been going on for
about 16 months.
16 months now. Something that was supposed to only, take like a couple of months according to the original plan, but no.
From the Kremlin.
He's still holding steadfast to the shit, and is even still pushing the idea of progressing with the nuclear option. Even though he just
Russia's
faced the
military is actually completely blown out of the water by Americans, with the spy network revealing things that Russia is just like, we have missile. It goes very fast. And then America's like, oh no, you have a very fast missile. It's not like we don't have something that can pinpoint the location of where it's going to be. Oh wait, yes we do. Like, while everybody questions the military budget spending, we still use it for a reason.
Yeah, no, I mean, as
Teddy Roosevelt said it, walk softly and carry a big stick.
Yeah.
By the way,
America
stick
does not walk
is
softly.
Definitely an analogy, as I had the light bulb moment about a month ago, and I'm like, walk softly and big dick energy. That's what he meant.
Yeah, no, America does not walk softly. We are the modern equivalent of like a Ford F-250 blaring down the highway.
Rolling down the highway.
With the fucking modded exhaust pipes in the back so we can roll coal.
And it never run my way.
Even with Joe Biden as president.
If you can name that band, I will give you $1.
I feel like $1 is not really enough of a prize for me to even continue attempting to participate in this shenanigan.
I'm not gonna hold it against you if you don't know.
No, I can't name the band.
It is Steppenwolf.
I should
They
have
are
said.
the band where the term heavy metal was first applied.
Really? Is it because of that song?
I don't think so. But that was the first band to have the term heavy metal associated with them.
While we were gone, Apple potentially released what might be the first real, like, viable wearable device, visual device, with the Apple Vision Pro. The only problem is the price tag. But we'll get into it with 12 things you might need to know about the next
Does it come in Ray-Ban
mixed
style?
reality
If
headset
it doesn't come
device.
in Ray-Ban style, I don't care.
No, have you seen it? It looks like surfer, or not surfer, but like snowboarder goggles.
I am walking around with that on my face.
I don't.
It straight up looks like snowboarding goggles.
It does look like snowboarding goggles. So which is why the first thing you need to know is they cost $3,500.
My eyes are too pretty to hide.
You won't be wearing them anytime soon, unless we get sponsored to wear them shits, because they're $3,000.
Shout out to every shaving company out there.
They're practically $4,000, $5,000. I'm sure if you get them fully kitted out.
Or if you order them from Ticketmaster.
So, but they're packed with all kinds of tech, even though they look gawky, right? Like they've got downward cameras. They've got gawky. Like big,
clunky.
Like, stare at me. Like they've got IR illuminators. They've got side cameras. Right? They've got this shit that projects like your eyeballs on the front lens of the camera.
God, that's so much. No, they're snowboard goggles. Make them look like Ray-Bans and I'll be interested.
It's pretty insane. You can control them with your eyes and like hand movements and stuff. They've also got voice commands that come along with them. As I mentioned earlier, it does display your eyes on the front of the lens to people around you.
That's creepy. That is weird.
You can FaceTime with it, which I'm sure everybody was wondering what that looks like when the
projection onto a little thing
on your face.
Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're our only hope.
It's got all kinds of new features that I'm sure will be buggy as fuck, and the only people who will really get to experience it at first are the people who can spend up to fucking $4,000 on this shit. But I'm waiting to see if this will be different from like Google Glass, because the Vision Pros promised that
at least Google Glass could have looked like Ray-Bans.
You can watch, like, this will be like Apple TV integrated, right?
Porn?
Already know.
Porn is on the leading cutting edge of every visual sense of technology, visual and tactile.
Porn, I am sure Brazzers is already working on Apple Vision Pro integration. Pornhub is going to be integrated with this shit the second it comes out.
Yep.
It's got modular adjustment devices and everything that come along with it to make it a comfortable yet, gaudy, as you stated,
It looks like snowboarding goggles.
What else do you expect, like, AR goggles to look like, though? Like
Ray-Bans!
We're not to that point with the tech yet. Like, do you remember what, like, the first
call me when they look like Ray-Bans.
Okay, do you remember what the first iPod looked like?
Yeah.
Do you remember how chunky that bitch was?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you wanted one of those, right? So
No.
You didn't. No, you were like, I'll walk around with a Walkman.
The first iPod I got was almost certainly stolen. I traded 2 Mobius the Frost Monarchs, super rares, not even ultimate rares, for an iPod Nano in the Arundel Mills food court. I was like 13.
What cards would you trade for an Apple Vision Pro? As if somebody was actually willing to trade you for Magic the Gathering cards. That weren't
assuming I had the deck I have already sold. I wouldn't. Because I'd have to trade too many to get to the sticker value.
Yeah, because it's fucking $4,000.
Yeah, like, that would be majority of the money cards in my... That might be all of the money cards in my Magic deck at that point. Like, if I'm...
Yeah, this bitch is expensive, dog.
Yeah, like survival would take like 400. Yeah, no, that's...
You gotta be a real...
That might be my entire Magic deck.
You gotta be a real tech enthusiast to jump on the wave as it is right now. It reminds me of, you know, when Tesla first debuted with the, the Tesla Roadster and the Tesla, the Model S at the price point that they were at. And, you know, Elon's whole point was, like, it's expensive now so it can be cheap in the future, right? And we are looking at,
that's not a
cutting edge
That's
future
not a
tech.
terrible thing to say. Because, I mean, like, Bluetooth used to be expensive as fuck.
Yeah.
Blu-ray used to be a thing people bought.
I mean, shit, like 4K TVs and stuff used
Look
to
at
be
your
expensive.
mountain of DVDs and CDs.
Yeah, I mean, CDs weren't ever that expensive, though.
No, but the
but
fact
there
that we
was
have
a point.
so many.
But there was a point where a double disc edition would cost you upwards of $30.
Look,
right? Like,
let's be honest. If you threw plexiglass in front of these and a little plaque that said a display of culture from the 2000s and prior,
I don't think that's actually...
nothing would change because you would never grab a fucking DVD off of this goddamn shelf. And if you're telling me otherwise, you're a goddamn liar.
I mean, we do, though. Like, that's why I have them. But that doesn't...
How often? The exception proves the rule.
What does that have to do with the Apple Vision Pro, though? Like, do you feel like this tech is necessary? Do you feel like the price point is something that people are, like, is really maintainable?
No until they look like Ray-Bans. That's literally my response. It's like, until they look not ridiculous.
So then you're not with, like, the PlayStation View or any of the, like, VR tech that we have right now?
Well, no. I mean, like, if you're doing, like, PlayStation and you're actively, like, sitting there playing a PlayStation...
This is a PlayStation View, but for the
reality?
internet. For the internet.
I am not walking down a street wearing this thing.
I don't think anybody's going to be walking down the street wearing their Apple Vision Pros at the moment. I think what the people who can afford this will, though, be sitting out back on their deck with these shits. They will be sitting at home with these. They will be making FaceTime calls with these kinds of things.
Okay, great. The people that would have gone on the death sub would buy these.
I mean,
meanwhile,
at the moment,
the people in the more middle class would get the Oculus where they can flip their fucking phone onto it.
and join the metaverse with Mark Zuckerberg to watch the Elon Musk fight, right?
Yo, would you watch that fight on the metaverse?
No, I would want to watch it on my Apple Vision Pros because these look way more comfortable than a fucking Oculus does. But to my standards, right? Like, I get the fact that they look like snowboarding goggles because they totally look like snowboarding goggles. But I think the tech that they're offering...
I will say, they look more comfortable than the Oculus.
The tech, and I think that the tech that they're offering is pretty crazy. Like, I've been waiting more for, like, the, not the VR, but the AR experience, right? Like, Microsoft was working on, a, like, almost like reverse Connect, where it was a AR projected, integrated into your Xbox, like, your Xbox UI, and I thought that was cool, right? Because it could have potentially paved the way for more interactive gameplay, like, you know, where obviously it's gonna, you know, be something simple like Beat Saber, but imagine Beat Saber, but you didn't need the, you know, PlayStation View goggles to do it, right? Like, the cube shot out at you, and you had a projected, like, saber to, like, play with. Like, that's what I'm waiting for, right? Like
a VR projection.
Yeah, that's. I mean, that. Yeah,
so
AR,
here's something that watching esports is a huge thing, right? People even go to watch an esport event in person, and I'm like.
Yeah, that's still wild to me. It took me a while to get with like Let's Plays and watching people play games and stuff on YouTube, right? And now I understand it, right? It's not that far off from watching people do sports.
So here's the thing I thought of when it comes to a game, specifically with League of Legends, right?
Right.
Which is basically like it's capture the flag. It's essentially capture the flag, right? What would make me want to go to an event is if they can hologram project the map. Like, imagine Camden Yards. You're at Camden Yards or M&T Bank Stadium.
Yeah.
And they project Summoner's Rift onto the field live with all of the players, how they're moving.
Yeah.
And they have on the Jumbotron the directed camera. So that way, if you're at a football game in person, one of the things that you get to watch in person that you don't really get to see on TV is secondary play, like the cornerbacks on receivers, how the safeties really move, because the camera is focused on the quarterback because they have the ball, right?
Yeah.
So it would be a lot like that, where if you want to watch the matchup top lane between Fiora and Yorick, you can focus on that instead of just seeing what the directed camera is doing.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying.
You know, seeing these champions on the field, like, actually fighting, that's where I want to see, like, VR, AR type of get to, where they can, like, project an esport onto an actual field.
I think it would even be cooler in the inverse, right, where they are using AR technology to do what they do on TV but live, right? Like, as they are running back, like, the play-by-plays and, like, how they circle players and stuff in, like, you know, the reviews of the highlights and stuff like that, right? Or, like, with the NBA, like, how, like, they do in, like, Madden and, like, in 2K and stuff. If you could do that, but, like, during the actual game, right? Like, when somebody gets the ball, they have like a circle that lights up around them that's like green, like, so you can like track that shit in real time, because you know that's part
football has gotten better with that. Like with their like line of scrimmage, their all of that shit. Football has gotten a lot better with how they use the digital technology on the field. Every sport has, because you know, advertising dollars. Yeah, like all of the like screens and like blocks, they change when you're watching the TV, because they're literally just green screen projecting a different ad on there every time.
No, I hear you, but like imagine being at the game though, and like having that advantage that you get when you're watching it at home. Yeah, that shit would be, you know, it would make the game much more engaging.
I feel like you're tackling the perspective from the viewer at home, where I'm taking the perspective of the viewer at the event.
I'm talking about at the event, right? Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess making it more like you're watching it at home, but at the event.
Yeah.
Right?
Because I'm talking about straight up just like taking the game and taking it out of the directed camera and being able to look at the whole map. Because it's not like you're watching people play Diablo.
No,
and the map is fucking ginormous.
I get what you're saying though. Like, if you were watching a Diablo tournament and instead of watching the people play, there was a projected dungeon for you to watch them crawl, that would be pretty sick too. But you know what will help that? Fucking Apple Vision Pros, my nigga, because then you could watch your.
If you like going to see a 3D movie, here's your Apple Vision Pro. Please return
to watch the tournament. No, it's just at your seat, like in your booth. You get to like watch the shit. Yeah, you get to pay for the VIP booth, right? That comes with the Apple Vision Pros.
Or all of the Apple Vision Pros will be like on tethered cables. So you can't take them
in the booth, right? Yeah. So instead of watching the game from the stadiums like the normies, right? You get to see a projected dungeon and watch them actually crawl through your app. That would be fucking insane. That would be next level type shit.
Well, if we're gonna talk about some stuff that's next level, let's talk about some things that are re-leveled after this break.
You take a sound, any sound, record it, and then change its nature by a multiplicity of operations. You record it at different speeds, you play it backwards, you add it to itself over and over again. You adjust filters, echoes, acoustic qualities, you combine segments of magnetic tape. By these means and many others, you can create sounds which no one has ever heard before.
So, we're talking about remixes and remakes. Let's talk about some new games coming out. And by new games, I mean some very, very, very desired remakes. Starting with Super Mario RPG.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say Super Mario Wonder, right? Is that what it? Yeah, the new Super Mario
fuck that.
Brothers.
Super Mario RPG literally exploded Twitter for a day and a half.
I feel like that Super Mario Brother Wonders is.
It looked good. It looks like a Super Mario. It looks like a new Super Mario world.
Both of the new Super Mario iterations to come out of this Nintendo Expo, right, have really proven to be something of like the new artwork, right? Like the artwork for both the platformer and the RPG are
the platformer feels like a return to Super Mario World.
Yeah, but the
which is
art,
welcome.
Yeah, I was gonna say, but the animation and the art style though feel like what they've been doing with the last couple Super Mario Brothers games, and that RPG is
Super Mario RPG. All right,
a remake of that cult classic that you were saying.
It's a cult classic that people have been crying to have remade for decades. It is, as far as a turn-based RPG is concerned, one of the best ever constructed.
Which is crazy for a Super Mario game, right?
Keeping it simple, but still
entertaining and engaging.
It's simple to learn, difficult to master. It's a pool. You can get in the shallow end and you can, have fun swimming in the shallow end, or you can get into the deep end.
Yeah.
And one of the things that makes Mario RPG stand out to me is every other RPG like Final Fantasy, you can deal thousands of damage. Mario RPG, a big hit is 32 damage.
So it's not huge numbers like you would get in Final Fantasy.
A boss's HP will be 300 instead of 30,000 for no reason.
Absolutely, some weird, absurd number that you just get stressed out about. Both of these new games look absolutely amazing. I am totally excited. I will be copying the Super Mario Wonder. You'll have to let me know how the RPG goes.
I will definitely be playing Super Mario RPG. However, there is another RPG remake that I am very excited for. The Star Ocean 2 remake.
Yeah, explain Star Ocean 2 because I'm not familiar with it.
So Star Ocean it was a very niche PlayStation 1 game. Along the same, have you ever heard of the game Legend of Dragoon?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
It's the same category of beloved cult RPG of Legend of Dragoon.
Okay.
And it's this guy who's in a space fleet crashes on basically a pre-industrial planet who's inhabited by also humans and things like that. So it's mixing the sci-fi with the fantasy.
Okay, yeah.
And you have two different paths you can play, and there's a lot of customization. And hopefully with this remake, they explain the customization, because the last time I played Star Ocean 2, I don't know why I needed to level up my ability to whistle.
But the option was there, right?
But the option was
The
there.
option was there just in case.
And
just in
artistically,
case.
it's very cool how they're approaching it. They're keeping the 2D sprite style of the original, and they're enhancing the background, much like Octopath Traveler. Star Ocean was actually an RPG by the company Enix.
Formerly known as Square
No.
Enix. No.
To be future known
as
as Square Enix.
Oh,
Enix and Squaresoft
okay.
merged
into
Square
Square
Enix.
Enix. You're right. I had it backwards.
So this is also exciting because you have the minds of Square,
And
specifically Square,
yeah,
incorporated
into
Star Ocean, which I am very excited about. But if we're going to talk about things that Square has announced, they are releasing
more announcements.
Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which is the sequel to Final Fantasy VII Remake, and the spoiler...
Is it a sequel or it is a part 2?
It's part 2.
Yeah.
Sequel, part 2, like... So they're doing the Final Fantasy VII Remake in 3 parts. Each part is by itself a full game. Like, I got at least 50 hours of playtime from the original 7 Remake. That's a full game.
So what are we most anticipating here? What are we most excited about with part 2?
I know a lot of things. I'm excited to explore the open world of Gaia. I believe that is the name of the planet that they are on.
In part 2.
Yes. So, actually being able to explore the countryside, much like Final Fantasy 15.
So, what else are we anticipating here? What else are we excited about?
One of the
where
big
does
things,
the story where does the story pick up in part 2?
So, it picks up right as they leave Midgard. And in the original Final Fantasy VII, you went to this town called Calm, which is where Cloud would tell the story of the flashback of when he and Tifa went to the Mako reactor.
Right.
Yeah. But because it's the remake, spoiler alert, everybody. It's a
Is
different
it really a
timeline,
spoiler alert?
kind of,
yeah. Oh,
because in this timeline, Zack is alive.
Right.
For starters, which is fucking wild.
Yeah, because then how does the story of Cloud even really, like...
2, in the preview, Tifa is like, I don't remember you being there, Cloud.
Was it Zack instead?
Well, in the first time, it was Zack.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Because Zack's memories and everything were implanted into him because of the soldier, the soldier process. Cloud was actually a scrub. Cloud was actually a scrub.
Who is running around committing stolen valor with Zack's name?
Well,
yeah.
He was brainwashed. That's the whole thing in 7.
Okay.
Remember when you dive into the live stream, you have to piece Cloud's actual memory
So
back
he's not committing stolen valor. It's more like a Winter Soldier thing where
it's like a Winter Soldier thing. Kind of like a Winter Soldier thing, actually.
Yeah. So we pick up. So is that where we are picking up in part 2?
So we're picking up right as they leave Midgard. So it's going to go to the Chocobo Ranch to Calm, and then from my guess of knowing the narrative of Final Fantasy VII, where it's going to cut off for the last part, I am projecting that it is going to be after the Temple of the Ancients, when the party gets to the Northern Crater and Cloud gives Sephiroth the black materia. At that point, Sephiroth, actually opens the Northern Crater and all of the weapons are unleashed on the world. That is where I would project the second part to end.
And that's where you think the third part will begin. Okay.
Or The other thing they could do, because I think this actually occurs after him getting Sephiroth the Black Materia, would be whatever the story leads to at the time and event in the original game when Aerith was murdered.
Right. Because that does happen around this part.
The end of disc 1.
Yeah.
The end of disc 1.
And the end of part 2 would be
the
end
game
of disc 1.
on the PlayStation 1 was realistically half the story on disc 1, half the story on disc 2. They couldn't fit everything on disc 2, so they put it on disc 3, which as far as story is literally just the Northern Crater.
Yeah.
Which is the final level.
Right. Well, damn. And when does part 2 drop?
I believe it drops early 2024.
Okay. Well, damn. Looks like we got a lot of gameplay to look forward to.
We do have another show to be looking forward to, / nervous for, that comes out in August. And that is the live-action One Piece.
Oh, yes, the trailer for that dropped. And might I say that despite what the internet is saying, it gave me mad Cowboy Bebop vibes.
As our listeners know, I just finished like a 6-month-long One Piece binge. I've never watched it before. Well, I've seen episodes.
Yeah.
But
you've never consistently
So I started from
watched
episode 1
to episode 3007.
Yeah, to whatever the current episode was, and I've let it sit since. So the last episode I watched, Sanji just became a full Power Ranger. That means nothing to you.
No.
I watched this trailer.
The trailer looks good. I feel like the casting is great.
I'm happy to see that just because it was an anime, they didn't exclusively cast Asian actors. That was a problem with the Full Metal Alchemist movie. Because racism's actually a huge storyline factor to Full Metal Alchemist,
right,
as well as One Piece.
I feel like the casting makes sense in One Piece. I felt like the casting made sense in the Full Metal Alchemist movie.
It made sense in the Cowboy Bebop show to me.
And it made sense in the Cowboy Bebop show.
And
I feel like the One Piece trailer has that same over-the-top feel that the Cowboy Bebop trailer had. I am waiting to see if
the allies. We enjoyed Cowboy Bebop.
I still enjoy it.
Yeah,
I'm
Cowboy
waiting.
Bebop live action to me is like the popcorn version of Cowboy Bebop.
I don't even feel like it's that.
It's an anime masterpiece.
I don't even feel like it's. After watching it a couple of times, I don't really feel like it's that far of an adaptation from the original Cowboy Bebop. I feel like, yes, is it a little bit more campy because it's live action? Sure.
Cowboy Bebop is a lot more Speed Racer than people like to admit.
Yeah, I feel like, once again, this is people looking at things with their 30-year-old eyeballs, and if you were a 14-year-old watching the Cowboy Bebop live-action show for the first time, after watching a couple of episodes of the cartoon, I don't think that you would feel like the adaptation was that far off.
No.
I feel like this One Piece show will probably be great for kids who have seen the One Piece cartoon and are now, continuing on to the live action show.
As far as, I guess, my concern, I'm less concerned about it than I'm going to assume most One Piece fans are, is pacing.
Yeah. Well, you know me. Our listeners will know that I am a huge proponent of pacing. I feel like the pacing in a lot of things now is rushed and just forced, and pacing makes things feel much more intolerable than they need to.
So, the logical point for season 1 to end would be up to Arlong Park, which is after you have the core group of the crew, Luffy, Zoro,
the
Nami,
ragtag gang
Usopp,
comes
and
together.
Sanji.
This is their first mission.
Yeah,
arc.
like Arlong Park is the first time it gets like real.
Yeah.
So the first season would make sense to be like, okay, you meet Luffy, you recruit Zoro,
Right.
you recruit Nami, you
Right.
recruit Usopp, you recruit
Right.
Sanji,
Uh-huh.
and then you're
Bang,
introduced
bang,
to
bang.
Arlong Park,
Bang.
cliffhanger, season 2.
Bang, right? Like,
But-
yeah, tune in.
Like, that whole thing to Arlong Park in the anime is like 40-something episodes.
Right. And
This anime, I
obviously,
think,
we're
gets
not
a
going to
12
get 40.
episode
Yeah, I was
run.
going to say, obviously, we're not going to get 40 episodes.
But
in the
I
first
will
season.
also say, to be honest, to make the live action, they are going to have to trim it. So, that's going to piss off One Piece.
It's going to piss off. See, this is the thing, though, right? Like, this is the culture that we exist in. Now that the internet is an active megaphone for fandoms to speak their disgruntled concerns, we end up with two sides of a coin, right? Where we have, like, the Sonic movie where fans expressing their discontent actually benefited the movie, right? Because that original Sonic concept was a fucking nightmare.
Oh my god, it was awful. It was awful.
It was a nightmare. That is a moment where, like, a fandom bullying...
It worked out! It worked out!
Yes. But in instances like the Cowboy Bebop show, I feel like that had potential, that the fan base was so gatekeepery and rabid that it absolutely didn't get to, like, live out to its shine, because people
It
were
was
just...
canceled within like 3 weeks.
Because the internet is relentless, dude, and they totally took an unfair take to it, because yes, it is Cowboy Bebop, and it is, as you said, the original is a masterpiece, right? And a lot of people, I feel like, were still upset about Ghost in the Shell.
I'll actually
and,
correct myself. It's not Speed Racer. It is a lot more Lupin the Third
Yeah,
than people like to admit.
I feel like Lupin the Third is widely underrated.
Oh,
by
I
the
agree,
way.
but it is definitely cringeworthy at moments. I've watched some Lupin. Lupin's pretty great, but
not as cringy as the live action Death Note remake. Like, that was bad, and I feel like a lot of
they owe Willem Dafoe and Lakeith Stanfield an apology, and Lakeith Stanfield right now could use an apology.
But I feel like they really tried to make Cowboy Bebop sound like it was the Dragon Ball movie, and it was not nearly as cringy as the Dragon Ball movie, and it wasn't, like, in the same realm as Avatar, and that's the way y'all bitched about it.
Yeah, well, sometimes the artist has to actually come to the front and nip some shit in the butt, and that's where I do give a championship ring.
With 3 in the bottom of 9th inning to become the world champions yet again.
Anything's possible. Anything's possible! Got a really big team, and they need some really big rings. They need some really nice things. Better be coming with no strings.
I am giving my championship ring to the Offspring.
To the Offspring?
To the Offspring. That's right. The famous punk band from the 90s. And still going.
Are they still going?
They're still going. I mean, like, I haven't checked for any new Offspring music. But,
when
like,
was the last time you checked for the
I'd love
Offspring?
to see them in concert. That'd be great.
Would you?
It'd be great if, I wanted to see another band.
So why are the Offspring trending?
So
this
I'm
week?
giving the Offspring my championship ring because they are recalling clean versions of the anniversary release of their album Rise and Fall, Rage and Grace.
Oh, really?
Why?
Clean versions? You mean like radio edit versions?
Yeah. Well, dance, your dance, he never had a chance. That's from that album.
Yeah.
It really only you. Yeah, so the Offspring, in their public statement, any fan of the Offspring knows that we enjoy cussing on occasion because sometimes there's no substitute for a properly placed curse word. So you must understand how we were completely fucking horrified to find out that the 15th anniversary reissue vinyl release of Rise and Fall Raging Grace had the quote-unquote clean versions of You're Gonna Go Far Kid, Nothing Town, and Stuff Is Messed Up on it.
Damn,
We
the
have no
vinyl
idea how
prints.
this shit happened. We didn't even know there was a clean version.
Not the vinyl prints, though. That's fucked up.
We in Round Hill are working to fix this bullshit ASAP.
Oh, yeah, no, that's bullshit.
We will
for
let
sure.
you know how and when this will be remedied, but rest assured, goddammit, that it will be fucking fixed. Thank you all
they
for your
think they're
patience,
funny.
and please accept our deepest fucking apologies.
They think they're funny. They think they're big time funny. I do think it's wild that the publishing company would go ahead and produce only clean edits
For a punk band!
of a punk band's album and not provide an uncensored version, right?
You mean
so,
the actual version?
yeah, the actual version, the uncensored version. It's so
The artist's version.
they are pulling a Lupe fiasco and requesting that if you did happen to purchase a version of this vinyl that has the clean edits of their songs, that they are accepting all returns, because that is not how they had intended for their songs to be experienced.
And that is why I am giving them my championship ring, because I'm not surprised to see one of the biggest punk bands staying fucking punk.
I mean,
Fucking love it.
it's pretty wild, and I do think it's funny that they came out and were like, hey, if you bought a version of this album, it's whack that you had to experience that way, and we will totally remedy it for you.
Well, if we're also talking about remedies, I want to say that sometimes the internet asks some questions and they need some answers, but why don't they just come to
Socrates
and Sigmund
and
Freud?
Freud.
I know everything. I know wisdom. I know bad religion. I know good karma.
You ain't got the answer, Swae. I've been doing this more than you.
Check it out now.
So, the internet asked,
What did they ask?
what are you convinced that
What?
people say they hate, but secretly don't believe? And I've come up with two answers myself.
Okay.
I gave you this as a question earlier this week. Have you come up with an answer or two?
We did prose this. Marvel movies.
That was one I thought of, but let me
Yeah.
start off with mine.
Okay.
Starters, number one, steak.
Steak?
Steak.
Who do you know is running around saying they hate steak?
Vegans.
You think you could tempt a vegan with a nice juicy cut of porterhouse?
If I told them, if for some reason did not cost the life of a cow, and I told them, guilt-free. You tell me that they're not gonna bite into that steak and be like, oh, this is fucking delicious.
Well, I mean, they're eating that Beyond Meat stuff, and it's way more processed than any kind of meat that you could pick up from the grocery store, and it's even proven
How
at
would
this
you
point
prepare your
to
ideal
be carcinogenic. So if they're eating that Beyond carcinogenic meat, I mean, maybe like a steak for a cheat day? I don't know.
How would you prepare a steak?
How do I prepare a steak?
Your ideal steak. You have your magical Christmas land cabinet.
What do you want me to binging with Babish this shit? I mean, because that's what I'm gonna do. Like, if
Go Iron Chef. How would
if
you
I
prepare
really
a
had
steak?
to Iron
give me your
Chef
cut,
it?
give me your seasoning, all of that shit.
I don't know. Like, I mean, I guess a good T-bone steak, right? You definitely got to do like a fresh herb and garlic butter, one that's really had time to like sit and marinate. I might even sous vide it because I've never sous vide anything before, and I feel like I want my steak like medium rare, so like a sous vide medium rare would probably be good. With that butter solvent. See, you asked me this question forgetting that I am an actual like.
No, continue.
I guess I won't call myself a chef, right? But like, I am a food connoisseur, right? So like, we could really get into how I want my steak cooked with shallots and all of that, but that's not necessary. That's not what you wanted. What were you thinking?
For my personal steak, I'm thinking like the French charbroil cook, where it's like really crispy on the outside, but like super red on the inside.
Well, yeah, that's how steak is.
We're giving it with like a rub of like rosemary, salt, pepper, and it's just like super crispy on the outside.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine how good that steak would taste?
Right.
If a vegan had no guilt towards it, and they bit that, and they had a bite of that steak.
So you really think that steak is something that everybody enjoys, but nobody wants to admit that they enjoy?
Yeah, even if they've sworn off of it and they're just like, meat is murder, they can't deny that steak is delicious.
I don't know. I feel like what is more along the lines of that is reality TV, right? Everybody has a form of reality, and I'm not including game shows in this, right? But everybody has a form of reality TV that they enjoy. Like, we'll call it like junk TV. Whether it be Keeping Up with the Kardashians, or My 600-Pound Life, or 90 Day Fiancé, or Locked Up Abroad,
game shows,
Naked and Afraid. I won't count Survivor as a game show. That's reality.
I mean, game shows are a sense of reality TV.
But game shows existed pre-reality TV. Like, America has always had, like, game shows are as American as apple pie.
Yeah. I mean, game shows are canned programs. You can transplant them anywhere.
Yeah.
Like, there's Malaysian Ninja Warrior.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. Like, no, Japanese game shows are pretty fucking ridiculous, right? But what I'm saying, as far as American pop culture, American iconography goes, game shows are as old as, like, variety shows, right? Like, back before, like, even talk shows were a thing.
Welcome back to the Ed Sullivan Show. Yeah. We present the Beatles.
American Bandstand and shit. And it was like right after American Bandstand, they were doing, fucking, not Jeopardy, but is Jeopardy that old? Jeopardy might be that
old. Family Feud. Family Feud is that old.
Yeah, they were doing Family Feud, right? Like, it's American Bandstand and then Family Feud. I feel like reality TV is one. I feel like pop music is another. Like, that's just an easy, like, cheap shot, though.
I got another one.
Yeah, go ahead so I can think a little bit more.
Puzzles.
I don't know, dude. Do you mean, like, sit down, like, cardboard puzzles?
No, I mean, like, people are like, I don't like fucking puzzles, and yet they'll be sitting there playing Candy Crush.
Right, okay, yeah, alright. If you mean, like, actual, like, solve them type challenges, no, I agree with you there, too. Puzzles is...
Not submarines.
Yeah, no. I think,
Ooh, does that submarine float? The answer is no. No, it doesn't.
I think over the last couple of years, we've seen that people like superheroes more than they're willing to admit.
I agree. I agree. And the reason I'm saying is because we've become super hypercritical of superhero media at this point.
And remember, like, there was a point, like, Zoomers, there was a point in American culture where liking, like, Superman and Spider-Man and stuff was considered kind of cringe.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I make the fact that, like, I'm a blatant, like, card-playing nerd all the time on here.
Obvious,
but when I was in middle school, I kept that shit secret like it was
you would get dragged for, like, having too many comic books. Like, it was okay to know who Batman and Superman and Spider-Man was, but once you started to get into, like,
one of the scariest moments
Iron Man and Captain America, like,
one of the scariest moments of my childhood was when I was playing Yu-Gi-Oh! At the Arundel Mills Mall and somebody from middle school saw me.
Video games is another one, because, like, remember there was a point where, like, video games were kind of a niche thing.
I'm a few years younger than you, so for me...
Yeah, no, you don't remember that, but there were, there was a...
Bonding was done over PS1 and N64.
Yeah, well, I need you to know that even when PS1 came out, I feel like there was still a period of, I don't play video games, right? Like, Nintendo was, like, really the only ubiquitous... God, I cannot believe you made me watch that shit.
It was so good.
Those are the only ones that I can think of offhand. If you guys can think of any more, feel free to tweet at us.
I saw many people respond with was porn, and which I just shrugged.
I wasn't.
I guess.
I wasn't gonna go there, right? Because obviously,
but
right.
I say steak and puzzles.
Steak and puzzles. I'm gonna say reality TV and pineapple on pizza. Because as much as you motherfuckers joke
I love
around,
pineapple on pizza.
Yeah, I feel like a lot more of you guys are eating pineapple on pizza than care to admit to.
I'm a fucking zealot. Also, here's the thing.
He's not
pizza
afraid
is
to
like
tell
the
it.
perfect food because you can literally put any. It is shit on bread. That's what pizza is.
It's not really shit on bread.
Like,
but
put anything on bread.
Other than shit.
Like, an open-faced fucking sandwich can be considered a pizza. Is a hot dog a sandwich?
Are you trying to say a pizza is an open-faced sandwich?
Is a hot dog a sandwich?
Is a hot dog a sub, I think is the question you're asking.
Is a sub a sandwich?
Yes, a sub is a sandwich.
So does a hot dog a sandwich?
I guess if a sub is a sandwich and a hot dog...
Transitive property, my friend.
Then the question that needs to be answered is, do you think a hot dog counts as a sub?
Yes.
You're only answering yes to help your argument, which is more proof that none of it's like, no, that's actually fairly normal, but here's where we end the episode and remind you guys that...
No, I got one more.
Oh, you got one more thing?
We'll
one
do
more.
This one real
we
quick.
got one more thing. This is a bonus fact for y'all, not a bonus fact, but a bonus segment for y'all. Drop that.
Moving on, it's time for Soft Move or Boss Move.
Finish it out with a soft move or a boss move. Hit it.
So I was scrolling through the interwebs, and I saw somebody post, probably at UAL, and it was a Tinder profile